What if the most important decision Patrick Mahomes makes this offseason isn't on a football field? Because right now, everyone is focused on the video, the throws, the rehab progress, the timeline. Um, but the real story, it's about how a quarterback coming off a catastrophic injury decides who he is under pressure. Let's set the context. Mahomes suffered a devastating ACL and LCL tear late in the 2025 season, a non-contact looking collapse moment triggered by contact, awkward, violent, season ending, and not just any season, a lost season for the Kansas City Chiefs. This wasn't a playoff run cut short. This was a complete derailment, a 6-11 finish, momentum gone, identity shaken. Now fast forward. 4 months later, Mahomes posts a simple video, throwing, moving, carefully, controlled, measured. On the surface, it's nothing. Quarterbacks throw all the time. But in this case, it's everything. Because this is where the obvious narrative begins. Mahomes is progressing, rehab is on schedule, optimism is building. Fans see the clip and think, he'll be back, same Mahomes, nothing changes. That's the surface level read. And it's incomplete. Because recovery isn't just physical, it's cognitive, it's emotional, and most importantly, it's decisional. Now we go deeper. Quarterback play is built on timing, trust, reaction speed, all of which are directly impacted by injury, especially a knee injury, especially one involving multiple ligaments, because every throw starts from the ground up, footwork, base, weight transfer. If that foundation is even slightly compromised, everything shifts. Release timing changes, velocity drops by fractions, windows close faster than expected. And suddenly, a quarterback who used to play freely starts thinking. Clipping moment number 1. The moment a quarterback starts thinking about his body, he stops playing at full speed. Now let's connect this to something people overlooked. Mahomes reacting to Gary Woodland's comeback. On the surface, it's just respect. One athlete acknowledging another. But context matters. Woodland came back from brain surgery, a completely different sport, a completely different injury, but the same psychological battle. Doubt, uncertainty, relearning trust in your own body. And that's where this becomes relevant. Mahomes isn't just watching a comeback, he's studying one. Because every athlete returning from a major injury faces the same question, can I still be me? Now let's bring this back to football, because this is where the complexity really builds. The Chiefs didn't sit still. They traded for Justin Fields. That's not a casual move, that's strategic pressure. Fields isn't just a backup, he's insurance, he's a contingency plan, he's a reminder. If Mahomes isn't ready, the offense moves forward without him, and that changes the dynamic. Because now, the timeline isn't just internal, it's organizational. Coaches need clarity, front office needs certainty, the locker room needs direction, and Mahomes, he has to balance urgency with discipline. Push too fast and risk re-injury. Wait too long and risk losing rhythm, control, even influence. That's the real tension. Now let's break down the core narrative. Most people believe this is simple. Mahomes returns when healthy, Chiefs go back to being contenders. But that assumes continuity, and there is no continuity after an injury like this. Timing is disrupted, chemistry resets, confidence has to be rebuilt, and most importantly, decision-making under pressure changes. Because the first time Mahomes steps into a collapsing pocket again, everything slows down. Not physically, mentally. That split second of hesitation, that's the difference between elite and average. Now we reach the hidden factor, and this is where the entire situation shifts. The Chiefs' season doesn't depend on Mahomes being healthy, it depends on him being decisive. Health gets him on the field, decision-making keeps him elite. And those are not the same thing, because you can be physically ready and still not trust your movement, still hesitate on throws, still avoid contact. And in the NFL, hesitation is fatal. Now, let's identify the turning point. It won't be the first game, it won't be a highlight throw, it will be a single decision under pressure, late in a game, pocket collapsing, edge rusher closing in. Pre-injury Mahomes steps up, trusts the leg, delivers. Post-injury Mahomes, he has to choose. Step into the throw or bail out, commit or protect. That's the moment. Clipping moment 2. Recovery is complete the moment a quarterback stops protecting himself and starts trusting the play again. That decision defines everything. Not the rehab videos, not the timelines, not the reports. One decision, one moment of trust. Now, zoom out to the big picture. The Chiefs are entering a transition phase, not a rebuild, but a recalibration. They're planning for uncertainty at quarterback, at tight end, across the roster. Mahomes is still the centerpiece, but for the first time, there's a question. Not about talent, not about legacy, about response. How does an elite quarterback respond when the game slows him down? Because greatness isn't defined when everything is easy. It's defined when something fundamental changes. And for Mahomes, something has. Mechanically, mentally, structurally. Now here's the final layer. Mahomes watching Woodland, supporting him, acknowledging the comeback. That's not just admiration, that's recognition, because he knows what's coming. The grind, the doubt, the invisible battle no one talks about. And ultimately, the moment where you either reclaim who you were or become something different. Clipping moment number 3. The hardest part of a comeback isn't returning. It's deciding you're no longer afraid. And that's what this offseason really is. Not a recovery timeline, not a roster adjustment, not a feel-good story. It's a decision by the best quarterback in football about how he's going to play the game from now on. And once that decision is made, everything else follows. It wasn't a touchdown. It wasn't a game-winning drive. But for Patrick Mahomes, Sunday might have revealed something just as important. Because while the football world waits on his knee, Mahomes is already showing how he handles something else. Pressure without control. Just months ago, everything stopped. Week 15, a routine play turns violent. A low hit. His leg bends the wrong way. And just like that, the Kansas City Chiefs lose the one player they can't replace. ACL, LCL. Season over. No comeback drive, no playoff push, just uncertainty. That's where this story really begins. Because recovery isn't just physical for a quarterback like Mahomes, it's mental. Timing, trust, decision-making under pressure. All the things that define his greatness don't come back automatically. They have to be rebuilt. And quietly, that process just hit a turning point. Mahomes posted footage of himself throwing again. Not in a game, not under pressure. But still, on a field, moving, delivering the ball. For most players, it's a step. For Mahomes, it's a signal because his entire game is built on rhythm. Quick reads, off-platform throws, controlled chaos. And after a knee injury like that, every decision changes. You hesitate, you protect, you think instead of react. That's the real danger. Not whether he can play, but whether he can play like himself. And then came Sunday, not football, golf. Gary Woodland wins the Houston Open. His first title since 2019, after brain surgery, after everything, and Mahomes responds instantly. Awesome to witness the comeback. Simple, but telling. Because this isn't just a casual reaction. Mahomes understands what that road looks like now. The isolation, the doubt, the slow climb back when nobody knows if you'll ever be the same again. That's the connection. And that's the emotional spike. Because suddenly, this isn't just about rehab timelines or week 1 projections. It's about identity. Mahomes isn't just trying to return. He's trying to return as the same player who makes impossible throws look routine. The same quarterback who doesn't blink on 3rd and long with the game on the line. And that's where the pressure is building. Inside the building, the Chiefs are watching closely. Every throw, every movement. Because their entire season depends on one question. Can Mahomes trust his body when the pocket collapses? Because if he can't, everything changes. The playbook shrinks, the aggression fades, the margin for error disappears. But if he can, nothing changes. That's the line. And right now, Mahomes is inching closer to it. Throw by throw, step by step, moment by moment. So when he reacts to a comeback like Woodland's, it's not just respect, it's recognition, because he knows exactly what it takes to get back. And soon, he won't just be watching someone else's comeback story, he'll be writing his own.